Morning, and you have 15, 20 people who are ready to speak, who are objectors, who it is their testimony. They may not be experts, but it is their testimony. And I'm just going to cite Witt versus Bureau of Maywood. It's a case in which Judge Harris said that the planning board was obligated to afford plaintiffs and all objectors a fair opportunity to address the full range of planning issues contained in the application. The planning board failed to provide that fair opportunity. It should have adjourned the hearing on November 1996, especially where objectors were surprised by the order of proceedings, et cetera. And the notion that the planning board might have actually entertained listening to the objectors' witnesses, even if they were present and ready to testify after midnight, is preposterous. The planning board should have continued the hearing to another date to allow all available evidence to be considered. One in the morning.
Raise your hand if you're not in line, you want to speak.
Everybody raise your hand.
All rated exactly what she read into the record. The planning board is obligated to afford plaintiffs and all objectors a fair opportunity to address the full range of planning issues contained within Commerce's application. NJSA 40:55D-10D, the planning board failed to provide that fair opportunity. It should have adjourned the hearing on November 4th, 1996, especially where the objectors were surprised by the order of the proceedings sprung upon them at the last minute. The notion that the planning board might have actually entertained listening to the objectors' witnesses, even if they were present and ready to testify after midnight, is preposterous. The planning board should have continued the hearing to another date to allow all available evidence to be considered. The impatience displayed by the planning board representatives, well, perhaps explainable, so on and so forth.
Do you want to put that one?
Resulted in depriving plaintiffs of an even chance to convince the planning board that approval of the site plan variances was wrong. The planning board should never become the adversary of an applicant or an objector. Sometimes applicants are belligerent. Sometimes objectors are obstructionists. The planning board must remain above the fray and conduct itself with dignity and even-handedness, even in the midst of a calamitous hearing. Sharp comments in the record aside, the actions of the planning board in refusing to give plaintiffs a fair opportunity to present all of their witness deprive the ultimate conclusion of legitimacy. It is a nullity. Now, I'm not familiar particularly with that case. However, I don't know the background to the case. However, I feel everyone here has been given a fair opportunity to speak. Everyone has had more. I'm not directing anything at anyone in particular. I'm saying in general, all of the various concerns of the citizens have been projected here in one form or another over the past 4 nights. There is no surprise here. This is.
Mine has not been stated. And I think either you adjourn it to another night or we stay till 6 o'clock tomorrow morning.
Okay. The chairman has the right to continue the meeting if he wishes to.
None of these rules were stated and they're changed every meeting. We have new rules, and that's ridiculous.
The planning board sets rules which will.
I know we want, that's the problem. You've seen the masterpiece letter here, you've gone this long. Come on, you need to bring it back to another day where you can fairly represent the populace that wants to be heard.
That's up to the planning
It's the board's decision.
board.
This meeting should end when that woman said she was followed. When she said she was followed, you of
If this is
saying,
gonna
My
be
intention was not- my
testimony,
intention is not-
Nothing is gonna get accomplished here other than venting. and
So adjourn the meeting.
the rest
My
of it.
intention is not to have this kind of dialogue. My intention is to bring up a very valid point to your considerations of what everyone's saying. At some point, you're going to have your eyes glossed over, and I wouldn't blame you.
That's true. I am saying that the chairman has the right to continue the meeting if he wishes to. And if you wish to raise that objection, that's your privilege also. He's conducting the meeting. People have come up on a regular basis over the many hours that we have had these meetings, and they have expressed themselves via their testimony and via statements which they were instructed not to make at that time. But I think this has been fully fleshed out.
We were told that we would have a chance to speak and that it wouldn't.
It's your decision. To me, it looks like you are predisposed to make a decision based on that response, but may I have my case back, please?
Come on, you said everybody can speak.
I've submitted my objection.
Everybody can?
Ms. Stick.
Except other people.
The chairman always has the ability to conduct the meeting and to cut off any testimony that he feels is becoming repetitive or is antagonistic, which has no bearing on what the decision of the board is going to be. It's not the facts of the
I
case.
have something new to say. Nobody has said what I have to say. I have
Don't-
something new to say.
Don't direct that,
I'm saying-
ma'am, don't direct that at me. I'm not the chairman. The chairman runs the meeting. This is the chairman.
I have
You make a motion. Get rid of the wall. Jennifer, make a motion. During the meeting.
I make a motion better.
And then he makes it.
My decision is that we will continue the meeting.
Imagine that.
Get off school tomorrow, so you at home, take the kids get the day off? Yeah. Yeah, they get off? So they go tomorrow? How are you gonna drive me in the ticket?
This is exactly the type of testimony that if this is going to continue like this, I'll cut you off.
Wait until this part of the meeting. I sat down, paid attention to your rules, waited my turn, and now I'm not going to be able to speak. That's not what you said. Some people make statements erroneously. Some people follow the rules. If we follow the rules, we serve our time.
Sir, you're going to be allowed to speak.
I got two friends that left their kids at home. They can't be here, they want to speak too. Give us an appropriate time, not 1 in the morning.
Who's gonna get our kids ready for school in the morning? We're gonna be here. Our kids need to come to school tomorrow.
We're continuing the meeting. I've already made the decision.
And our police department isn't doing anything about it.
That shouldn't take place in the same backyard that's going to be polluted by the post, but it's seen stuff you shovel at that. Look at this boy! He's been here the whole meeting! Look at him! He's sleeping! Just prove you don't care about the case!
You've made your decision without even listening.
Would you raise your hand,
How would you feel if that was your grandchild?
Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Sarah Morgan, 416 State Court, Lopatcong.
Against possibly the odds, I choose to believe that all of us residents, both on and off the stage, both planning board members and audience members, are here because we want to help our community. Unfortunately, I think that we've lost sight of that common goal in the increasingly acrimonious and sometimes laughably immature meetings of the last few days, and I think that's unfortunate. I have 2 brief comments to make because it's really past my bedtime. First, we've spent a lot of evenings and hours here and in research to learn why this applicant's request might be good or bad for our town. For all of these concerns that have been raised, we've been assured, both here in the meetings and in flyers that I believe the applicant has placed on our doorsteps, that any negative outputs would be within approved limits. I'm not an expert and don't submit myself as an expert on any of the issues that they've talked about, but as I think most people who were born and raised here would say, I would submit myself as an expert in defending the state that I grew up in. When you become a resident of New Jersey, I think that's par for the course. I think it's a great place and I'm proud to be from here, but even I can't drive up the turnpike or through Carteret or Elizabeth or Secaucus and feel proud of New Jersey and their environmental standards and the approved limits that they have. Parts of New Jersey look very much like cautionary tales, and I'm not overly comforted by the applicant's assurance that they will meet New Jersey standards. In any case, meeting standards means getting a passing grade. And as all of us can be reminded here in the school, a passing grade is a D-. I don't want to live in a D- community, and I doubt anyone else here does either. That's why we chose to live here, not in Carteret or Elizabeth or Secaucus. My second point is, I work in the pharmaceutical field like several other people here at these hearings, so I want to use a metaphor from that industry to make my second point. When you do a clinical study of a medicine, you can choose to do a superiority study, which demonstrates that the drug works better than any drug that's already been approved. Or if that's too difficult, you can choose to do a non-inferiority study, which just shows that the drug isn't actually any worse than anything else that's currently available on the market. I'm sure we'd all love it and we'd all have an easy discussion if we had an applicant that was clearly superior and who would be better than anything else in town, but I recognize how unlikely that really is. My problem is that even after all we've heard from the applicant, I'm not sure they've even proved non-inferiority. I'm still convinced that they would be the worst inhabitant to join our township. Thank you.
Raise your right hand, please. Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes, I do.
Thank you.
Forrest Adams, 31 Reservoir Road, Lopatcong. Forrest, F-O-R-E-S-T. I find some of what is happening here very disturbing. I lived in Lopatcong before all the development happened in both Lopatcong and Greenwich. The homes that many of these protesters reside in were the cornfields that my family and many others enjoyed for hunting, four-wheeling, and snowmobiling. They want to talk about traffic and congestion, but well before they were all here, we had less traffic, less congestion, less cars polluting the air, and to add to it, we had to build a new middle school. This asphalt plant isn't going to harm anyone, just like the one in my neighborhood that hasn't harmed anyone. It isn't going to make my taxes go up like these big residential developments did, because we had to build a new middle school. So I say to this board, approve this already, and let's get more industry into industrial park, offset the tax burden that is created when all these, not in my backyard, people moved into their new homes. Thank you.
Hi, Juniper Langford, 32 Green Lane.
Raise your right hand, please. Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Sure do. Listen, you guys know I've been really outspoken throughout this entire process. And because of that, I've literally heard from hundreds of people in this community. And I've heard varying degrees of distress, from tears to anger. These people clearly feel betrayed. They feel as though they're being blatantly exploited by a very corrupt governing body. That is a reality. And these proceedings have only made that worse. There are now going to be hundreds of people out there who wish they had the opportunity to speak, and who didn't. In addition to all of these people watching this travesty go down. Listen, it's been said to me many times by many people that all of you had your minds made up before you came here today. It's said over and over and over again, and I know that that's what everybody is thinking. And I've got to tell you, I've maintained all along that I don't think that that's possible. I'm sure that at least some of you has got to want to, in your heart of hearts, side with the people. Some of you has got to see that the new information and testimony that has come to light is very enlightening. This is new information. I realize that you may be torn between your loyalty to your peers and your loyalty to the people, but I urge you to side with the people because the information and the facts are on our side. When it comes down to it, I think that each of you is well within your legal rights to vote no on this application. And I say that because we know that this information was provided to you during the first application. I already gave you evidence of that. You did not know the type of neighbor this company has been in other residential neighborhoods. You didn't have that information because you were given false testimony. You have the ability to say no, and they cannot legally bind you to that. Take advantage of what we have done for you. Wash your hands of this whole deal. I'm not even going to go into all of the many ways that we know that this is going to hurt us. We've all discussed the road hazard. We've discussed the expenses. We know that there's a threat to current and future business in our town. But the fact is, these people feel helpless. And I'm just not a believer in being helpless. I'm a believer in taking action. And so I'd like to inform you that under the Faulkner Act, the residents of Lopatcong, New Jersey are to exercise their right to initiative and referendum. I have here a petition signed by over 200 registered Lopatcong voters. It is also fully notarized on every page. And what we're doing here in this ordinance is removing the language that was added to allow for asphalt manufacturing facilities in addition to recycling facilities. Now, it is our understanding that this ordinance does not stand to affect any existing or future businesses except to disallow businesses of this type to come into this zone. We also understand, actually, let me just give you guys your copies of this because I know you want to see it, because I'd like to formally submit it. Like I said, we understand that this doesn't stand to disrupt any current businesses. We also understand, unfortunately, that it won't deter you from putting inter-county paving in the zone, because you'll be able to grandfather them in. But what it is it's a political move, and it lets you know that we're dead serious, that we understand our rights, that we, as the citizens of Lopatcong, New Jersey, are the ones who will determine what the ordinances of our town are. I'd like to submit our fully notarized signatures. The board can either accept our changes or they can put it to a public vote. Of this town, and that they didn't want this kind of petition. What they wanted was a recall election petition. And that's going to be the next one that goes around. And that's the reality. You forced our hands. You've made a mockery of this entire situation. You've made it clear to all of these people that you don't care how they feel. You've absolutely clearly favored the applicant without question. Everything you want to say. You've allowed everything they wanted to do. You've actually publicized propaganda on the town website in favor of their facility. You haven't provided any of our materials.
And post the meeting.
Where am I don't post the website of the township.
I'm just saying
We're making a lot of accusations that are untrue. This is going to continue this way. It has nothing to do with this applicant before planning board.
Mr. Chairman, if I may, we've had the opportunity to confer with the applicant, and we have suggested that the applicant take a position in full recognition that it's your prerogative as to whether or not to continue this meeting, but nonetheless that they take a position that we would not object to an adjournment of this meeting. Again, it's your prerogative of the applicant. At this point, we will not object.
I gotta tell you, I'm a little sick of that hero routine.
So, I don't know if that's your that's your choice, and that's your desire, we could suggest some days where we could return, and perhaps we could start the meeting early enough, because the only thing left at this point is public comment, and everybody would have the opportunity, who has not already been heard, will have the opportunity to be heard.
Come on, he gave you the okay. Everyone running the show anyway.
just want to let you all know that if you're interested in that recall election, please email me at justsaynonasphalt@gmail.com, and we'll make sure you get to sign that petition.
meeting tonight. We'll continue the meeting on Monday, the 5th, 6 p.m. here.
6 p.m. is too early for most people.
It'll be 6 p.m. on Monday.
That's too early.
And we'll continue the public comment. Public comment will run no later than 10 p.m.
Just for the record, Jonathan Drill on behalf of Greenwich, I can't be here, but I'm not going to say anything about it. I'm going to be in D.C. I will have another attorney. All I have is a short closing statement, 2 pages long to read, which I was hoping to do last before the applicant gets, their last licks.
But you can't make it Monday.
Can't make it Monday, but if I don't want to screw the thing up, I'll have someone cover for me, because all they have to do is read my closing, which I wrote when I was sitting there.
There might be a PTA meeting.
Mr. Chairman, if Mr. Drill can give his 2-page comment, you want to give it tonight, John?
And what's your next regularly scheduled planning board meeting?
Next scheduled planning board meeting is the 28th. And you may not be able to get on the schedule that.
And when is it done?
Wednesday, the 28th is our next regular